So over the past week, I've been doing a bit of polish all across the board, basically. But what I wanted to talk about in today's video has to do with feedback, and specifically on the controls and some of the different things I've changed for the battle system. So with feedback, you might notice you've never really heard any sound effects in my game. And I also don't have the flashing happening anymore, which is partly because I'm waiting to switch over to a new shader system, but also partly because I don't want it being distracting. Same reason I don't have any audio effects or anything like that in, because the more fancy effects and all that kind of stuff you get layered on top, it can make things appear to be better than they are, which is dangerous because it fools you into, it's only temporary. It wears off, and people, you're gonna feel like, oh well, the controls are actually kind of crappy, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm leaving all that stuff out until I feel that the controls are really solid, the battle system's really solid, the platforming's really solid. I don't want it to be leaning, necessarily too far either side. So I'm just trying to keep all that stuff from cluttering and making it hard to see things for what they are. So as far as the current feedback, I do have, obviously, his animations change. Like when I hit this guy, his animations changed. The arm falling off, okay, it's more of a gameplay mechanic, but you can throw that in the feedback. His eyes changing, his animation changing, that little particle emitter. And you're not going to kill me. There we go. So the feedback that I find really interesting related to controls and everything actually has to do with, let's say I charge this up. This will be something that you can actually see, whereas some of the other feedback you really have to be playing the game in order to feel it. So I'm not going to let off the joystick when I run and hit him, but you'll see I kind of stopped momentarily. And basically what's happening is I have a coroutine that takes the multiplier for the player's speed, zeroes it, and then brings it back up to what the base speed was, which makes it feel a bit like he planted his feet and threw all his momentum into his arms, and that's what knocked the enemy back, which is what I wanted. So I have a similar thing going on with if I'm running and I punch. So I can stand here and punch, and you see the enemy isn't getting knocked around or anything. And due to the attack gating, he can hit me. I used to have a dominant strategy where you could just stand here and punch as fast as you could, and every time you hit the button, the enemy would get damaged. In this case, you can't do that anymore, so I still got hit. I got hit once. You're going to get hit pretty much 1 to 3 times if you try to use the strategy of just stand here and tap a button, because you can only attack so fast, and the crab can actually attack slightly faster to help remove that strategy. And I always forget what I was talking about. Ah, yes. Okay. So I'll run, and when I run and I hit him, you'll see that I'll try to get it a little more clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, one more. So you might notice a slight change in the camera movement and stuff. What's actually going on is that from the base speed, the multiplier, or the base multiplier for speed, his multiplier goes up by 50% over about a quarter second or so, and then goes down from the base multiplier 50% over about another quarter second, and then goes up to the base speed over, I think, another quarter second. So the effect that has on for feedback is that it makes it feel like he's actually lunged forward. So he's sped up on the lunge, but as a result of lunging forward, just as if you did that in real life, you would lose momentum when you hit. So I have that going on. I might tweak a little bit so he loses a little more momentum. But those kind of small tweaks to the controls and that give you that sort of feedback make a world of difference, actually. And I don't want audio effects or anything else cluttering up and and making it, feel better than it is. I want to get everything feeling great and then layer on all the special effects and audio and that kind of stuff. So the sort of attack and fighting that I want people to do is say run, hit this guy, throw him, hit him in the air, grab him, throw him, jump and hit him in the air. That sort of thing. It's more interesting, more dynamic than just standing here and tapping a button. Another thing I implemented is that as you get damaged or as an enemy gets damaged, they basically forces affect them more, a lot like Smash Brothers. That's where I got the idea from. Really love Smash Brothers. And so I'll show you by grabbing him and throwing him. Went about halfway between me and the edge of the screen. That time about 3/4. This time he should touch the edge, and then this time he'll be off, and he'll also be dead. So yeah, anyway, just tweaking a bit of the fighting. I've still got more stuff to try implementing and see how it goes. But once I get everything to where the controls feel really solid on the fighting and on the platforming, which is another thing I guess I can talk about, is the platforming. So in the past, when I pressed the jump button, the character would be in the air for 1.22 to 1.23 seconds. Let's just call it 1 1/4. And if I jumped and hit hover, he would be in the air for twice that long, about 2.5 seconds. Supposedly, I was reading one of my books, and where is it? A Theory of Fun for Game Design by Ralph Koster. There was a mention in one of the notes at the back about, I guess, some study or survey or whatever people had done to figure out the sweet spot for a platformer and the jump timing and attacking, the timing that it takes to throw like 3 attacks, that sort of thing. And basically my jump was nearly twice as long. And to some extent, I want it to be a little bit longer because you are underwater. I want it to feel a little bit floatier. And I'm thinking that I will have areas where you aren't in the water, and you lose your ability to hover at that point, and then also you fall faster because you're not as strong. Well, I guess falling faster might not be the physically correct way of stating it, but basically you have less air time because you're not in water. So currently, my jump time is about 1 second, which has a pretty good feel to it to me. And I guess that's all for today. Thanks for watching.